I am Haribabu, an advocate at High Court for the state of Telangana at Hyderabad. I have studied the Constitution intently and wrote two books. One in English called The Indian Politics versus Indian Constitution, and the second is in Telugu, Bharata Prajalamagu Memu. And I got it translated into Hindi through one of my friends who lives in Meerut by name Amitabh Chaudhary, whose family is also, right from his forefathers, are engaged in the practice of advocacy. All these books were published through Notion Press, Chennai. Now they are available on all online platforms like Amazon, Flipkart, Kobo, and Notion Press online. Having read the Constitution intently and having written these two books, I realized that whatever is happening in India is not in accordance with the Constitution, rather it is diametrically opposed to what has been stated in it, and that is the root cause of all our backwardness, political uncertainty, political instability, political immorality, and conflicts of caste, community, creed, region, religion, language, etc. Having realized so, I have decided to dedicate my life to bring the true content of the Constitution to the notice of the listeners with fond hope that this message may spread among the important Indian citizens and may lead to a social, political, economic change in India, which is necessary. Till yesterday, I was discussing Article 79, which is rather a definition of Parliament. Parliament consists of the President of India and both houses of the Parliament, namely Council of States and House of the People. That we discussed yesterday, whose role is what and who is superior to whom and why. Today, we will discuss about the both houses of the Parliament, namely the Council of States and the House of the People, contained in Article 80 and 81. 81 is related to the House of the People. Instead of taking up Article 80, I will take up Article 81 first, because there is more controversy in Article 81. I read out the text for you from my system, and then I will present, I will dilate, I will correlate the topic with what is being in practice today. Article 81 clause 1 says that subject to the provisions of Article 331. Article 331 is nothing but reservations to the Anglo-Indians in the legislatures. Now, of course, it is not there. That clause was deleted. 81.1 clause A says that there shall be not less than 530 members elected from various territorial constitutions in the country, namely the states and union territories. This, in addition to that 530 members, there will be another 20 members from the union territories. While deciding the territorial constituencies in a state, the procedure is like this: that as far as practicable, the number of constitutional territories, namely the MP seats, and the population of a state shall be as practicable as possible, shall be equal to all other states. The intention is that each state should have, as far as practicable, equal number of population and equal number of parliament members, because it is they who vote in the election of the President of India. We know the MLAs also would vote. In fact, the basis is only MLAs vote. The vote value of all the MLAs put together in the country are divided among the parliament members. So in one word, MLAs will have 50% of the votes and the parliament will have another 50% of the. If a state is too big, the President of India will give utmost importance to that state. Unfortunately, Indian leaders, they missed this logic. I tell you, when we were about to get independence or during the initial days of independence, there was a widespread discussion among European pundits, politicians, intelligentsia, judiciary. All of them are of a uniform opinion that Indians are not meant for ruling. They are meant to be ruled. Though they have hoary antiquity, history of thousands of years, but they do not have that individual pride. Though they are demanding for independence, they were sure that India would get disintegrated in due course of time and will lose its independence again. Because in India, there are more circumstances which can lead to bifurcation of the country than keeping it united. Clause B states, each state shall be divided into territorial constituencies in such manner that the ratio between the population of each constituency and the number of seats allotted to that state, so far as practicable, the same throughout the state. So there should be comparability between state and the state, and parliament members of each state and parliament members of the same state. Everybody should be having equal representation in the election of the President of India. This is contained in Article 55, which is about the election of the President of India. It states that as far as practicable, each state shall have the same scale of representation in the election of the President. It is justified, it is equitable, it is reasonable that each state shall have equal right in electing the ruler of this country. Unfortunately, now we are seeing there have been conflicts in South India, especially in Tamil Nadu. They raised the issue that the government of India is trying to undertake delimitation of the parliament seats, and that would lead to giving more seats to the North India and less seats to the South India. But these people should have this much knowledge and common sense when they were demanding to partition their states. Don't they know if their state is partitioned, they lose some part of the representation in the election of the president, don't they know? Yet, for their own selfishness, to become a chief minister, even of a small state, people raise narrow considerations and incite people among themselves on narrow considerations like language, region, religion, and whatsoever. In spite of making such agitations, better they read the Constitution and understand what is stated in the Constitution. You please remember, first elections were conducted in 1952 and first census were conducted in 1951. Census were conducted in 1951, and based on those census, elections were conducted in 1952. And it is held in this Article 81 that there shall be census every 10 years. That is after every two general elections. Needless to say that after every two general elections, states will have to be reorganized based on their population. This was not done. Instead, it was in 2001 through 84th Constitutional Amendment. It was stated that the delimitation or reorganization of states need not be done until the census are taken after 2026. Thereby, what has happened due to bifurcation of several states? Now there have been very small states with hardly 30 to 60 MLA seats and hardly 3-4 to 80 parliament seats. True that the Constitution intended under Article 170 that the number of assembly seats in each state may be between 60 and 500. It does not mean that some states will have 60 and some states will have 500, like UP, which has 400. If the partition of states is done on that basis, Article 55 gets vitiated. What Article 55 said? It said that each state shall have, as far as practicable, shall have equal representation in the election of the president. So it is inevitable that each state shall have equal number of population, equal number of MLAs and equal number of parliament members. Through this 84 constitutional amendment, conducting of census every 10 years is abandoned and reorganization of states based on each census which are conducted every 10 years, that is also abandoned. Yet again, Constitutional Amendment 87 was brought to say that this rule shall not apply to states where the population is not more than 6 million. You see how the Constitution is being butchered, is being deviated, is being nullified. These are the basic tenets of the Constitution, basic tenets of democracy, and basic tenets of republican rule. Unfortunately, Indian polity, press and intelligentsia have not understood this particular scheme of the Constitution, that census shall be taken every 10 years and based on that states will be reorganized every 10 years, and that each state shall have equal number of population, equal number of MLAs, equal number of parliament members. Deviating from this basic requirement of the Constitution, states were reorganized on linguistic lines. You see what happened? There are conflicts of language in many of the states. One language people feel that that state is theirs, and they are agitating against the people of other languages living in those states. And these regional party leaders, without concern for national unity and integrity, raise the narrow issues of region and language and resources. Had the golden rule of the Constitution is followed, that each state shall have equal population, equal number of MLAs and equal number of parliament members, there won't be linguistic states. In any state, there would be people speaking more than one language. Necessarily then, the need for a link language would have arisen. Now keeping one language people in one state, they are thinking that they should become an independent state at some time or the other. In fact, there were such movements, all militant movements. Somehow, India has crushed all those militant movements with military actions. Now there is a threat looming large. These regional parties can legitimately raise this demand in the parliament and write resolutions in their assemblies if they have majority. Even if they do not have majority, they can start agitations for separation of their state from India. Please remember, though these regional parties are not in power in many states, yet they are sufficient enough, they have sufficient power enough to raise slogans and make movements. Hardly 5% of the people are sufficient to create any movement. Within 5 to 10 days, the whole country would be on fire if the regional parties so decide and incite the people to make agitations. Within a week, the whole country would be on fire. Now it is the responsibility of polity, press and intelligentsia how to secure unity and integrity of this country, which was enshrined in the preamble of the Constitution. Thank you very much for watching my video. I will be coming before you with each and every article in the Constitution and how it was misinterpreted, misunderstood and misused. I request you to please subscribe, share and comment my videos. I will be glad to reply to your worthy comments. Thank you.